What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only, Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening today, buddy? Welcome back. It's Monday.
Oh, yeah. Checking out a lot of games over the weekend. A lot of things that made it to Game Pass. And
nice.
It's been pretty fun.
Awesome. Speaking about a lot of games, dude, coming up on September 17th and 18th, we're doing the big game. 24 games to 24 hours to help raise money and awareness for big brothers and big sisters. Make sure you join us right over there, over at twitch.tv/theofficialitg, as well as YouTube, just like you can get this show. But if you can't get this show today, then you should check it out later inside thegame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, we got a banger of a show today, buddy. Here's what's coming up on today's show. You ready for this? Halo Infinite is missing a few key features at launch. We are going to do a deep dive into this one, buddy, because there's lots to talk about. Hideo Kojima might make another adventure game, and the world of Quake is shaking it up over on Game Pass. Dude, you ready to rock and roll for today or what?
Yeah, sounds like a good one. I like this.
Let's do it, because Halo Infinite will not have co-op campaign or forge mode at launch.
I regret saying I like this. I don't like this.
Yes, you're taking it back. Halo Infinite won't include a co-op campaign and its Forge map building mode at launch. Microsoft has confirmed the news marks the latest setback for its upcoming flagship shooter, currently scheduled to release on Xbox consoles and PC later in 2021. That's right, because we still do not know when it's coming. Just sometime in 2021, Scott. 343 Industries outlined its plan via its August development update video on Friday, recapping the latest on development. Unfortunately, as we focus the team for shutdown and really focus on a quality experience for launch, we made the really tough decision to delay shipping campaign co-op for launch, said Halo Infinite creative head Joseph Staten. And we also made the tough call to delay shipping Forge past launch as well. Dude, you ready? Here's this last little bit of info here. Staten states that the team aims to ship co-op campaign support via Season 2 update, scheduled for the 3 months after launch. Forge is expected to launch 6 months after launch in Season 3. Oh, man, Scott. Before we get into this, before we get going, I want to call in a good friend. A lot of you all know him. You see him on the show each and every week. You also know him as the one and only Nathan Quinn. Let me see if I can get him on the phone. We're going to call him in because he's a huge Halo fan, and we got some things to discuss. I want to call him in on this.
Yeah, we had the great experience. We had the great experience with the Halo 5.
Right?
Moment we both realized there was no couch co-op on that one.
Nathan Quinn. Is that the one and only Nathan Quinn?
Might be.
It might be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You are live right now over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg for ITG Daily. Dude, did you hear the news that co-op campaign for Halo Infinite has been nixed, as well as the Forge mode?
Yes, I did hear that, man. And, well, I got some thoughts about that.
That's good, because we want to talk about it. Did you also know, Scott and I were just talking about this, that they plan to ship co-op 3 months later in Season 2 and Forge mode 6 months later for Season 3?
Wow, I didn't actually know that. And that gives me a little more reassurance, actually. That's good. That we have a timeline. I was a little worried that they're like, yeah, it'll come in like a year.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So here's the biggest concern for us is that it's not there at launch. This is their biggest shooter of the season, which we still don't know when the date is coming. However, everybody is excited. Nate, you are a big fan of co-op when it comes to Halo as a series, and they're not going to have it here. How does this make you feel?
So initially I was really irritated, like very, to a point where I almost didn't really want to play Halo, but I think that was a little bit ridiculous on my part to have that much of a, sour feeling about it. But honestly, I saw a post on Facebook. It was actually IGN's, and I always like looking through comments just to see what the people are saying. And for the most part, people aren't that choked, because
Okay.
the biggest highlight with Halo, I think, outside of the campaign, is the multiplayer, and that is what they have been focusing on tenfold. And it's not actually like, when Halo comes out, I'm going to be playing the multiplayer a ton. And I do typically, when I play Halo, initially, like my first time through, I will play solo.
Right.
But, Halo 5, Halo 5's circumstance is different. When I had like pre-ordered that and got the Legendary Edition and was all excited to play that co-op with my friend at that time, but that didn't launch with it, and like I don't even know, maybe I just didn't do research at the time, but wow, like we never got local co-op Halo with Halo 5.
Right, and now it's not going to be there for another 3 months after its release. So yes,
it's it does suck, man, but at least it's only 3 months. I'm just really glad that it's not that far away. I'm kind of curious to see how this campaign unfolds. Is it going to be your traditional Halo campaign where you have like 10 to 12 missions?
right.
Or is it going to be this kind of open world sandbox style that we had kind of heard a little bit about a while ago? So
Yeah, for sure. Still a ton of questions. Nate, thank you very much for joining us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG. You can check out Nate each week over at Inside the Game. Nate, we'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, have a good show. See you all later.
See ya. Scott, any concerns, buddy? 3 months isn't really all that long in the world of delays when it comes to video games these days at all.
No, Nate had a good point. At least that's some sort of a timeline.
Yep.
But to know that it's 3 months is just, I guess it's all that disappointment at once instead of waiting 2 weeks and then waiting 2 weeks and still no update. It really does hurt the experience for me because
Sure.
as Nate said, of course you do a solo on Legendary eventually, but when I get the first sit down with the game, like it's been a tradition since Halo 2 that I just almost beat it in one shot with a co-op buddy. It's just, it hurts that that's not an option, and seemingly it's not even an online option either.
Well, the biggest thing was for me, like after I finished Gears 5, I played that whole campaign in co-op, and I had planned on doing it again come Halo Infinite, and now it's not even going to be there at all. So once I beat it once, dude, I typically don't go back to replay a game. So that means I probably won't go back to play Halo Infinite in co-op, right? Once I'm done, I typically move on. I might get sucked back, but like Nate said, how many people are really just looking forward to the multiplayer component alone?
Yeah.
And that's what we're really gearing towards. That's what you see 343 talking about the most is the multiplayer aspect. The fact that it is coming free to play. It will be everywhere for you to play, except for PlayStation. But you know what I'm talking about, right? It'll be there. It's going to be free. They're taking that Fortnite model and they're going to push it out there for absolutely no money whatsoever. But you can expect the battle pass and some sort of, right, some kind of season content and all that stuff to keep you intrigued, to keep the lights on over at 343, to keep those servers viable and alive, right? Hopefully then they have a game and a roadmap already fleshed out for the next 2-3 years when it comes to what they think their Halo multiplayer looks like. I'd love to talk to the team over there to see what their overall game plan is, or how far ahead are you when you're launching this component, right?
Yeah, well, it makes me nervous that it just the emphasis on multiplayer entirely. I understand why that's of course important, but has a huge fan following. It just bothers me because there's been, Call of Duty that launches with no campaign, and I fear the day may come where Halo does that.
Okay, so
big mistake.
Halo Infinite's coming sometime this holiday season, only for the campaign, right? We're paying for the campaign. Is that a full price game that they're going to sell, or are they going to drop it for like $40 because it's going to be a campaign you're going to complete in like what, 12-15 hours maybe?
I bet they'll still maintain a way to have full pricing. It's just that it's on the kind of first tier of different IPs for Xbox that I expect it to still hold on to that price tag until the next Halo comes out, really.
Now, when you get back to the multiplayer side of things, Forge mode now is as well is going to be 6 months out from now at this point. Is that a concern at all when you're trying to keep the community alive, allowing them to go in and build their own little arenas and their own objectives and things like that? Scott, does that bother you at all? Are you affected by Forge mode? I know I'm not really that concerned. For me, I'm just going to jump in and play. So I'm good either way, right?
For me, I'm not really into the Forge thing. I was in Halo 3 when it was introduced. Sure. I enjoyed that, and I know there's a lot of people, just based on my little bit of time with that really enjoy Forge, but I don't think that's the main consumer. I think the main person's there for the campaign at this point.
We all know how many people are watching us all the time. We all want to know, hit us up over at the official ITG on Twitter. Are you disappointed by this coming from 343 for Halo Infinite? Or does the delay of co-op and Forge mode even bother you at all? Scott, let's move on to what's next with Hideo Kojima says 12 minutes kind of makes me want to create another adventure game. Dude, Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding director Hideo Kojima has taken to Twitter to share that he enjoyed 12 minutes so much that he kind of makes him want to create another adventure game. 12 Minutes is a time loop mystery adventure game starring William Dafoe, James McAvoy, and Daisy Ridley that had Kojima saying he hasn't been into a game this much since Inside. That is, dude, this is how you push Kojima.
It's quite a compliment coming from Kojima that this is something that came up on his radar.
Absolutely. He said, if we were to go down that road, 12 Minutes creator Luis Antonio did offer that he does have some ideas he'd love to run by Kojima. No kidding. Who would want to hit him up going, hey, I see you talking about me. We should work together.
Yeah.
To finish his thoughts, Kojima compared aspects of 12 Minutes to other films like The Shining. The carpet pattern in the hallway is totally The Shining, and the closet perspective, the closet perspective is also good. Defoe's high-strung voice is very The Lighthouse, like Kojima wrote. Dude, we haven't. I just started 12 Minutes, like literally just started. I'm not even 12 minutes in.
That's one that I'm definitely lining up to play. We've been talking about this one for a while now.
Certainly have.
But I just I haven't. I've been sucked in by other games on Game Pass, which I'm not going to get into too hard because it seems like that's the very next topic we have.
But yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely. What do you think, though, Kojima would even create? We're never going to see another Metal Gear out of him. We have Death Stranding director's cut that is just around the corner. That's coming on its way out. We saw the paid homage of Metal Gear in the director's cut trailer.
That hurts.
That hurt a lot, right? So I kind of question what we're gonna get next. We all know Kojima's heavily inspired by the horror genre, and he's done the PT thing, but he hasn't really gone out to create anything since like that. Instead, we got Death Stranding, which is completely different. I wonder if we'll get into something a little. Well, I was gonna say something unique, but Kojima is unique no matter what he does. So
yeah. Well, I'd really hope that he does something horror related. I think you could take Silent Hill and just put that aside. He doesn't have to touch that, and it could still be something great coming out of there. But Kojima on his own, without having to be penned in by any sort of IP, is just free to create his own horror experience. I think that would be something phenomenal.
I think so, absolutely. Obviously, we all know I'm not a horror guy whatsoever. So if he does go that route, I'm going to be bummed out because I'm not going to get to play it. But if he does something in the vein of Metal Gear, man, like honestly, we talk about how we feel about the stealth genre as a whole. But I think if anybody could revitalize that whole genre, it would be Hideo himself, right? To come back and say, hey, look, this is what modern day stealth looks like. And here you take a look at covering us because we're now making. I don't know what you would call his next Metal Gear kind of like game, but man, Metal Smear because he right? Like,
it's not bad.
Yeah, he's not going to do that, but it would be awesome to see. I'm definitely curious. We always keep our eye close to Kojima to see what he's up to next, and he's always mysterious in how he describes his next thing. He already says he's working on getting into development stages of his next title. I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon, but
no,
it's cool that he's making comments about 12 minutes, man. And that's got to be feeling pretty good right now when it comes to Luis thinking, man, like I just had Kojima talk about my game. Right.
So yeah, that's a milestone there. You've made
absolutely.
it.
Well, yeah, that's right. So yeah, smart on Luis too to reach out and go, hey, I have a couple other ideas if you want to work together. That's how PR does it. I'm gonna say. But dude,
I think you have to. I think you just have to.
Absolutely. Let's get on to Xbox Game Pass adds 3 Quake games, including the new remaster. 3 Quake games, Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3 Arena, are now available on Xbox Game Pass. Microsoft announced the additions alongside the start of QuakeCon 2021, shortly after id Software revealed and released a remastered version of the original Quake. Dude, are you a Quake fan at all?
Yes, I played a lot of Quake 4, I believe it was, back on 360, and that is what totally propelled me into that series, for sure. I've played Quake way long time ago, back on Windows 98, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. I really like these kind of corridor shooters, Doom, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So this, when it came up in the news, I was very happy to hear about this one.
Quake enhanced version is available on Xbox consoles and Windows PC via Xbox Game Pass, while Quake 2 and Quake 3 Arena can be played on Windows PC through the subscription service in the original form. In other words, Quake 2 and 3 haven't been remastered. So just kind of keep note of that. Quake is now in a new version of the 25-year-old game. It has 4K resolution support, cross-platform play, enhanced visuals, and a new expansion pack from Wolfenstein developer Machine Games. Dude, Machine Games is sick. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's a great touch too.
Absolutely. Do you think now if they're bringing back Quake a little bit in this remastered version and then releasing 2 and 3, do you think we will get a new Quake?
I really hope so, because based on what Doom did,
yeah, exactly.
New Doom totally blew up again and got just about everywhere. And I think it kind of did its own to redefine what people expect from a first-person shooter that's fast like that.
Yeah.
And Quake fits just in with that. It's the exact same kind of mold, but it has its own flavoring. I think it would be really great, and I hope it hits the same fandom that Doom did and propels it back into the limelight.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? It is very talented over there. They know their genre very well, so this could be the new stepping stone for them to come out with the latest or next Quake version. I'm sure, especially like you say, Scott, because Doom took off, right? We got Doom, and then we got Doom Eternal, and everybody loved those games. So I'm curious to see if they're going to step it up and bring in Quake. I was always a Duke Nukem guy, and I never went into Quake. But rest in peace,
seems like
Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem is gone. Yeah,
unfortunately,
I just would not get along in this society, anyways.
not today. But let's see what's going on with Epic Games Store. It's finally allowing devs to self-publish games. Epic Games has kicked off its closed self-publishing beta, which allows publishers and developers to submit their own games to the store and control what content appears on the storefront. By allowing studios and publishers to add their own products to the store, Epic is hoping the store library will grow faster than ever before, a boon for both consumer and developers alike. The beta is invite only at the time of writing, but anyone interested in accessing the new tools can apply to Epic to be considered for the beta. So there's a little kind of thing like 12 minutes for that example, right? Could then apply and just produce it himself, publish the game, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it takes some of the red tape between development and publishing, just gets that out of the way. Hopefully that results in a lot of really good content coming to the forefront.
Absolutely, right? And it just gives them more money in Luis's pocket if he does to choose to do that kind of thing. So there's nothing wrong with that, right? It helps fund the next game. So we'll see what happens. But Scott, did you know you can play PS1 games on your Xbox Series X via an emulator?
I did not expect that to happen.
Nope. The PS1 emulator with the ability to upscale games to 4K has recently been made available to manually install on the Xbox Series X and S. The emulator, which is called DuckStation, really is able to not only emulate PS1 games, but also internally upscale them to native 4K at 60 frames per second. Wow. Although the
That's the
emulator
highest specs it's ever run at.
although the emulator's default is to cap games at the original frame rate. However, as this is a clearly unofficial program, if you were to give it a go, you'll need to put your Xbox Series X and S into developer mode to basically use the console as an Xbox development kit. There is the catch.
Okay.
Scott.
Yeah, that sounds a little more technical.
Dude, PS1 games. You know what I would love to do then? Metal Gear 1.
Yes, that would actually be really good.
Oh man, I never thought we'd see it in a high def version in 4K. I wonder how good that would look or how chunky. I just wonder what the controls. Honestly, it comes down to me. For me, anyways, it comes down to the control scheme, right? Can you get past how outdated some of these controls feel? And that's the biggest thing when it comes now, I think, going from last gen and the gen before that even to bring it over to current gen, or in this case, next gen with Xbox Series X and S. And how do the controls feel when you're pushing it into this series of consoles now? Can you get past the tank controls that we all know and loved back then, where some of us didn't like at all, but now we're in a whole different state, man, where just controls feel so differently. Like I even think about GTA 5 and then playing Red Dead. Dude, Red Dead 2 is so different than how GTA played out. I know they're two different games, granted, but you know, Red Dead 2 is a lot smoother for me personally than what GTA is, but that's just me.
Made everything a little heavier. It just had more weighty, but that kind of change happens a lot with first-person shooters that I recognize that in.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It's just that kind of different scrolling ability, if you want to call it that. Just looking around can be really heavy in the case of Battlefield or really light in the case of Call of Duty. That makes a big difference.
Absolutely does. Scott, why don't you take the next one quickly?
Alrighty, we have some interesting Dead by Daylight news.
Yep.
They are adding Hellraiser's Pinhead in the latest crossover. This sounds pretty wacky to me. There was rumors about this, and they turned out to be true. The iconic horror villain Pinhead from Hellraiser is coming to Dead by Daylight and will be released for the game in September. Dead by Daylight's creative director, Dave Richard, said, "Not only is he highly charismatic, but he also embraces deeply disturbing horror themes. So our fans have been requesting him for a long time. Bringing Pinhead into the fog is a way for us to give fans something they want, while cementing our reputation as a Hall of Fame of horror." I really like the sounds of that. That's quite interesting to me. I never have seen or knew about Hellraiser until recently.
Yeah.
But this character visually fits.
I think it fits the Dead by Daylight theme very, very well. But it's we played Dead by Daylight on the stream later last week, and it was an experience I probably will not go back to. Yeah. So it was just, man, that game is just not for me. That's but it was fun. And honestly, I had a good time. I think that was the biggest surprise for me, is how much fun it really was. It makes me miss Evolve. I'm just saying.
Oh man, yeah.
Right? I miss that game.
Short-lived one.
Oh yep. Turtle Rock now on Back for Blood instead. So goodbye to Evolve. I wonder if we'll ever see a sequel. I'd love to see a sequel.
I don't think so, unless another company kind of does something in the vein of it, but I don't think that Evolve 2 is going to happen anytime soon.
I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. But Scott, there is something happening. What game announcements and releases do we have for today? It's really late.
Well, today we have the ability to jump into the beta for Riders Republic. Now, that's something that caught our eye just a little while ago.
Yeah.
And holy, did that look interesting. So this is cool. If you want to join the beta, you now can register at ubisoft.com Riders Republic, and you can opt in, get the beta that way. Now, that beta only runs until the 25th, so you kind of have a short time window to experience it.
Absolutely. Very short window. Scott.
Yes, we also... Oh, sorry. We have one release.
Well,
that
what
is
do we have?
Fling to the Finish on PC.
Dude, I completely missed that. I had no idea we had anything. That's awesome. There is one game. Fling to the... Well, we'll see what that is, I guess, maybe tomorrow. But until then, everybody, Thank you for watching. This has been ITG Daily. I'm Drew. That's Scott. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, we'll see everybody else inside the game.